You know that old myth, the one that says you need to be some tech genius coding the next massive social media app in your garage to build immense wealth? Yeah, let's just go ahead and shatter that right now. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to look at how the absolute best way to build incredible wealth is actually by doing something utterly, wonderfully boring. Seriously, let's dive right into this. To really grasp this, we're drawing on the insights of David Heacock. Just look at this number, $22 million. That's the monthly revenue of his company FilterBuy. He operates at the absolute highest level of the boring economy. And to give you a sense of his perspective, I want to share a direct quote from him that really sets the stage for us. He says, "Making hundreds of millions of dollars is not complicated. In fact, I would argue it's as simple as finding a boring business that you're willing to commit to." I'm David. I'm CEO of FilterBuy, an air filter company that makes $22 million a month. Every day, I'm flooded with hundreds of boring businesses to invest in, and a few I've been willing to write million-dollar checks to. And that right there is his core thesis. You don't need a groundbreaking, world-changing innovation. What you need is a proven model and just relentless execution. As he says, in just a few minutes, you'll understand the most important concepts and business models to literally make billions off of boring businesses. Okay, so here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to cover 1, the boring secret, 2, property cash flow, 3, high upside service businesses, and finally, 4, the cash flow checklist. Section 1, the boring secret. Let's get into the framework. Before we look at specific examples, we really need to establish how this works. David points out there are 2 basic types of cash flow businesses I want to focus on: property-oriented businesses and service-based businesses. Now, property businesses require upfront capital to purchase physical assets that generate money. Service businesses, on the other hand, well, they're usually much lighter on upfront cash and rely heavily on your labor, systems, and your specific knowledge. Let's break these down. Section 2, property cash flow. Now, sticking with David's framework, he says, I want to start by focusing on property businesses. These are appealing because people think of them as an easy way to make passive income. Let's look at one of his absolute favorites. This first business can make anywhere from $1,000 to $100,000 per month, and honestly, it only takes a few hours to operate. In some cases, people have turned $2,000 investments in this business into millions. Take Paul Alex. He was a retired San Francisco police officer who started his ATM business in 2018 just to supplement his income. He purchased his first ATM for $2,100 and installed it in a nail salon. That single machine generated him $500 of profit per month. Encouraged by the results, he gradually expanded his operation and started installing ATMs in other locations. By 2021, Paul owned over 30 ATMs nationwide. His ATM business was generating over $10,000 a month in profit, which actually allowed him to retire from his police job. Today, his company, ATM Together, earns over $8 million a year and helps others start their own ATM businesses. So what was so smart about how Paul started this business? Well, first of all, he didn't go all in on the first day. He kept his day job and just expanded slowly. 1 machine became 2, 2 became 4. It's a brilliant, low-stress scaling strategy. But hey, maybe ATMs don't really excite you. If that's the case, look at this staggering statistic. According to industry data, laundromats have a massive 95% success rate. Compare that to the standard 50% success rate for most national businesses. It's wild, right? People bring their clothes, they swipe a card, and you basically just collect the money. It really looks like the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it business model. Okay, but let's pause and do a quick reality check here. If it sounds too good to be true, it usually is. The whole illusion of passive income completely hides the active daily grind behind the scenes. Whether we're talking about ATMs or laundromats, you are entirely responsible for the machine maintenance. I mean, think about it. If an ATM is out of cash, it's making $0. You have to constantly collect cash, make sure the environment is clean and safe, and above all, you have to secure a prime location. Plus, scaling these property businesses, it often takes way more capital than beginners ever realize. But if you do have the capital, property businesses offer these massive, almost hidden perks. Equipment rental is a perfect example. David shares this crazy story about opening a plant in Utah during COVID. Their crucial air compressor completely broke down. Facing a massive 3-week delay, he happily paid a local company $500 a day to rent a diesel compressor just to keep his operations alive. This exact scenario happens every single day across the country. And here is the real kicker. If you buy heavy equipment for $100,000 and rent it out for $60,000 in a year, the current tax code often lets you write off 100% of that purchase against your income. That basically makes that $60,000 practically tax-free. It is an incredible loophole.
All right, moving on to section 3, high upside service businesses.
So, property businesses are fantastic for making thousands. But if you truly want to scale up to millions or even billions, you need to look at the service side. High upside service businesses cost significantly less to start and offer almost limitless upside, provided you build the right systems. Honestly, skipping traditional college to master a trade might be one of the smartest, most lucrative paths today. It's incredibly capital light. You don't need a huge factory, you just need knowledge and solid systems. David saw this massive potential himself. He actually partnered with a friend he met at Goldman Sachs to launch a service business called Filter by HVAC Solutions. The playbook is simple. Go to trade school, work for a successful HVAC company to learn the ropes, and then step out on your own, offering top-tier service at a fair price.
And you know what they say, the riches are in the niches. It's absolutely true here. When David went back to his unassuming hometown of Talladega, Alabama, he noticed one of the richest guys in town, a guy who probably didn't even finish the 8th grade. His secret? Emergency tow trucks. But he was super smart about it. He realized the real money wasn't in towing little sedans. It was in towing stalled 18-wheelers on Interstate 20. Since he was literally the only guy in the area with the heavy-duty equipment to clear those massive trucks quickly, he created an incredibly high-margin business. He could essentially name his price.
So just how big can a service business actually get? Well, let's look at Patrick Dovigi. He's a former hockey player who started GFL, Green for Life, back in 2007. He started out just managing a few small waste management routes in Ontario. Then he got aggressive. He made over 100 acquisitions, eventually landing a massive Toronto trash collection contract in 2011. Today, this completely boring trash business is a publicly traded, multi-billion-dollar empire that employs over 20,000 people. And it all started by just finding one small, underserved local route.
Which brings us perfectly to section 4, the cash flow checklist.
Now, I know after seeing all these incredible numbers, you might be itching to rush out and buy a tow truck or an ATM right now. Hold on, stop right there. The difference between the people who make millions and the people who lose their shirts completely comes down to execution. If you are serious about changing your life with a boring business, you absolutely must follow this strict 3-step checklist to save yourself from fatal mistakes. Step 1, start lean. Step 2, validate first. And step 3, be hyperlocal. Let's break these down.
Step 1, start lean. Let me tell you about John, a guy who attended a conference with David. John owns a window cleaning business. How do you think he started? He didn't take out a massive loan. He literally bought a squeegee, a bucket, and some soap and just started cleaning windows for a local bank. He kept his expenses incredibly low and did the manual work himself so he could deeply understand the pain points of the business. By building specific systems around those exact pain points, John's business now does $10 million in revenue with 40% margins. He clears $4 million a year from a squeegee and a bucket. The secret isn't what you make early on, it's what you absolutely refuse to spend. Step 2 is validate first. This is how you completely eliminate risk. Before David built his massive air filter factory, he needed to know if people would actually buy from him in the first place. So what did he do? He just drop-shipped filters from other suppliers. He made almost zero margin and basically no money in those early days. But profit wasn't the point. He was doing it simply to prove that his customer acquisition model actually worked. Only after he validated that he could consistently get customers did he finally take the leap and invest in manufacturing. You can do this with anything, really. Run a local ad to a simple landing page and just see if people click before you ever buy a piece of equipment.
Finally, step 3, be hyperlocal. One of the most common classic mistakes is spreading your resources way too thin on day one. Look at Domino's Pizza back in the 1960s. They didn't try to conquer the whole country right out of the gate. They focused on one single college town in Michigan. They obsessed over one specific demographic, local college students who wanted fast, affordable pizza delivered right to their dorm door. They tailored their hours, their menu, and their delivery routes just for that one community. By completely mastering their systems on a hyperlocal level, they laid the unbreakable foundation for a global franchise. Hyperfocus is your ultimate weapon here.
So, there you have it. We've totally stripped away that tech genius myth. We've explored cash-flowing properties and high-margin services, and we've given you the zero-risk checklist to actually get started. The wealth is out there. It's hiding in plain sight, disguised as manual labor and completely mundane tasks. So I want to leave you with this final, absolutely crucial question to think about. What boring, everyday problem is your local community just waiting for you to solve? Think about it, and we will see you in the next explainer.